Welcome, everybody.
Yeah.
We're going to learn about the numbers 1 through 9 as they relate to the 9 planets that are used in ancient astrology and also from our perspective view today, Jyotisha. And Jyotisha is also called Vedic astrology.
Is that J-Y?
Jyotisha, like Jyoti. Jyoti means light. And I'm Ambika Devi, because this is coming from the Far Eastern philosophy. It's important to honor the elephant-headed one, Ganesha, because he's actually the one who brought us some astrology and knowledge. And he's the one who unblocks any obstacles. So if we have any hesitation, I mean, you're brave enough to be here today. Sometimes when I say math, people run away. When I'm teaching astrology, if I say calculus, people go into some sort of deep sleep. But so I'm going to chant to Ganesha, and this chant is a small shloka. A shloka is like a poem. So you can just close your eyes and read that. I'm going to Om 3 times, and then I'm going to say Ganesha's seed sound mantra, and then I will chant this shloka. So just relax.
Legs uncrossed.
That's up to you. But it's a good question. So let's just, even before we do this, how about giving yourself a hug and gratitude for showing up and arriving. This will give us an opportunity to imagine we're hugging the groove and the energy of the groove. Om Gham Ganapataye Namaha Gajananam Bhotaganari Savitam Kahapita Jambupala Saravakshitam Masutam Shokavanashakaranam Namami Vigneshwara Parapankajam Om Shanti Shanti, Shanti. The idea of knowledge is the key has to do with the fact that if we're in the dark about something, the only way to make our way through, like say we're trying to get across a dark room, is to flip the light on. And so in this case, knowledge is equivocal to flipping the light on. In this cosmology and philosophy, we have to consider nature. We all have our own nature, our own tendencies and creature needs. And in this Far Eastern philosophy from the Vedas, the qualities of nature are called gunas. And the 3 gunas, in some stories, were born out of the deity that I'm the namesake for, out of Ambika Devi. There's a great story called the Devi Mahatmya. Maybe someday I will have the opportunity to do some storytelling here, just more casually, and teach you some of these myths because they're absolute favorites of mine. So in the qualities of nature, we're looking at it with a 5-element system, similar to Chinese medicine and that part of the Eastern philosophy, but different from in the West. When we're looking at astrology, we're usually only considering 4 elements, which are fire, water, earth, and air. But here, we've got a 5th element, which is space or ether. So you may see it in your research and looking around that ether, and it could be spelled with an A, E, or both of those locked together. But we can consider it space. And you might know the word akasha. Do you know this word? You might have heard people pronounce it in English, akasha, but it's akasha. And akasha is the space. From space and the friction in space, which is the element of your throat, chakra, Vishuddha, comes air. So when space has friction, it creates air. And then when air has friction, which air is the element of the heart chakra, anhata, we get fire, which is the element of the belly. And we use that for digestion. And this is where we discern things. I'm just planting little seeds and sprinkling little ideas into your awareness. Nothing that you have to remember right away. But this will create a beautiful foundation for you in order to understand this philosophy and anything else you learn from this. So just relax and take it in like storytelling. It's not a class that there's a pop quiz for, but I'm giving you a good foundation so that you feel comfortable with it as we move through it, or like I said, learn things from other related philosophies. From air, we have fire in the top of the belly, and then water. Interestingly enough, from fire, the friction of fire comes water, which maybe from our Western thinking minds makes sense or not. And then from water, we have earth. And earth is where we're grounded. That is the root chakra. I didn't give you all the names of the chakras. We'll do that another day. So in these 3 gunas, we have them divided up into vata, kapha, and pitta. You may have heard this pronounced kapha, but it's kapha. When we see an H in this language of Sanskritam, which is Sanskrit, it's an aspirated sound. So you pull your belly in and make a sound. Want to try that? Yeah, good. Excellent. That's, oh goodness. That's the same action we use with Kapalabhati, which is really good for stimulating the digestion. When you get a class with me, you get a lot of extras because I'm so juicy into this philosophy. So with these 3 gunas that are intertwined at all times, they've created everything in nature. And vata is ether and air. So vata is a type. Now, we want to kind of pay a little attention to this because personality types, body types, and remember, human nature or animal nature, all are a part of this. So I'm creating everything from the very, very beginning and then factoring it out so that you can start to understand the planets more when we get to them and the numbers 1 through 9. So Vata is moving and changing. It's the energy that moves everything through our existence. Kapha is earthy, it's earth and water. It can be seen as inert. And Pitta is fire and water. So we have the fire and the water together. Most people have a propensity towards Pitta. We all have all of these gunas, all of these qualities of nature, and these are the doshas of Ayurveda, the 3 doshas of Ayurveda that create the different types. So here we can see the 3 gunas in another view. We can see that sattva reveals power, and sattva is sweet. that Raja, the fire and water, is a projection. It's when we get intense. Can anybody think of a planet that relates to fire and intensity? Maybe the sun definitely has fire. So does Mars. Yeah, say Mars. Blurt it out. Trust your first intuition. And then we've got Tamas. Remember I said that Kapha can be inert. So Tamas is still. I think Tamas gets a bad rap. Because stillness is needed for meditation. But we do want to have all three in harmony. And so when we're considering things in numerology, we want to take into consideration these qualities within the numbers. Now here's another view. Maybe this will make more sense with the visual of Homer Simpson representing Tamas and being Tamasic. So we can add an ik to the end of these words to denote a personality trait, which the planets have, and ultimately we do too. Because we have all 9 planets in us. We're not just one, and we have all 9 numbers in us. But think of it just like brainwaves. We have all the brainwaves going at all times, but something is a little more dominant, and maybe something's a little more subdominant. Everything making sense so far? Good. Nothing scary, or no, everybody looks alive. So with Sattva, we get balance and harmony. But, if we need to be grounded or we need to go get a sales pitch going and land something or buy something big like a house, if we're all sattvic, we may not have enough pitta to push the deal through, right? And if we're too inert and we're sitting back, cowering in our cave, which, okay, maybe it's not cowering, maybe it's just being more of a hermit, like I tend to be. I really do. I call myself an extroverted introvert. So when I have gigs like this, I have to be extroverted, but all the rest of the time I can be quiet and alone and not talk to anybody. Perfectly fine with that. So think about this with the qualities of personality. Anybody coming to mind that I encourage you to write the name of the quality and then the name of the person that you think is maybe a little bit more sattvic, a little bit more pitta, a little bit more kapha. And we can think of it in body types. So that vata body type, which we might associate with sattva, is light and thin, and the kapha type is bigger, heavier, earthier, maybe a little more water, has more weight. But really, we're mostly made of space. So we have to find that harmony within. Please blurt out any questions you have at any point. It's my pleasure.
I am aware of all of these things, and I never remember what's what. So
Okay.
the 3 gunas, you're relating them to the 3 doshas.
Kind of, sort of.
I got lost a little.
Yeah.
And I think it's because it's kind of sort of.
I'm waving.
Okay.
I'm waving.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. If I was teaching the basics of Ayurveda, I would go maybe a different way.
Got it.
But I want you to understand that certain planet equal number, so we have a planet and a number. That's not changing. And then they have qualities. It gets a little more intense.
It's not exact. Got it.
Yeah. Are we good with this one so far? So something that we need to consider is that things change in dates with numerology. Don't worry about this, but if you don't feel like your number is right and you were born in midnight at time or very, very middle of the night time, sometimes numbers are shift. And then we also have to understand that we're using a Gregorian calendar, and this calendar is different with numbers. There's something I just addressed on the internet yesterday was the Lion's Gate, which is the 888. And forgive me what I'm about to say, but it's nonsense. Because that's a Gregorian measurement that comes from an Islamic idea of a gate of lions and an Arabic astrology bit of information having to do with where Sirius is in the sky this time of year when the sun appears near Sirius, which is a dog star that sits off of the feet of Orion. And then we're basing it on a Gregorian number system. I'm sorry, that makes no sense. That is pure poo to me. And if you want to read it, it's on my Instagram. And I even stood up for somebody on YouTube yesterday that was just getting slammed. And he was so grateful. It's just, if you come from a different counting system, which this numerological system and astrological system use, we have to remember we're using a Gregorian counting system. So the whole truth of all of this is we're human beings. We developed some form of counting system and keeping time, and then we're all agreeing on it. My personal philosophy on this is I don't care which system you use or what you believe, as long as they're making sense. But when it comes to portals, show me the wormhole. That's what I'll believe in. So let's get into the first idea of the first number, shall we? It's the psychic number. It's how you view yourself. And how we view ourselves is how we show up. We can think of it in astrology as the first house. So if you know your rising sign in whichever system, because we have to remember if we're using sidereal time, which is the movement of planets towards the great attractor and what is considered the central point universally, it's different than how we measure from Earth time and tropical time. I have used both. I'm super well trained in both. I actually have a college degree in tropical astrology. And I have to say, I've studied straight up tropical astrology, straight up Vedic or Jyotisha astrology, and also with a very famous Vedic astrologer who uses tropical time and not sidereal time. And I have to say, for me, the most accurate, the way I can look at a chart and in 3 minutes tell you information, is tropical.
It's what?
Tropical time. So what would be considered Greco-Roman astrology and that mythological system. So let me just demystify the difference between personality types in the two systems, just using the planets as our personalities. So the planets and the stars have genders in these philosophies, and because they're explained through mythology. And so in tropical, the Western, I'll call that Western astrology, because tropical is actually the system of measurement, and the system of measurement in tropical astrology is using where we are. We're standing here on the Earth, we're sitting here on the Earth. The Earth is moving around the central star we call it the sun. It has other names in other languages. Did you know that? Yeah. And the name we'll use today is Surya. Surya is the deity or mythological being of the sun. So tropical measurement takes the movement of here on the Earth and uses the changes of seasons using the equinoxes and the solstices. That is a sensible way to measure things. Where you're on Earth, there are different house systems, which some place everything on the equator, but we're not all born on the equator. Again, getting a little deep into astrology, so thank you for sticking with me on that. But using our Gregorian calendar and looking at the number of the day we were born. So I was born on the 27th. How about you? What number days? 28. 28, 22nd, 20th, and 24. Okay, we've got different numbers here, and they're all double digit, right? They're all printed. How interesting. And that is something key. Very good. Excellent point, Tracy. Because that first number in a double digit, whether it's a 1 or a 2, because in our counting system, well, it could be a 3, right? in a couple months or 3 months of the year. It could be a 3-0 or a 3-1. That first digit is important. That does bring some influence. The second digit in a double digit is a subelement. So take the two numbers of your birthday and add them together. What do you get? What'd you get, Judy?
10.
Right. Judy's got the wild card because hers goes to another double digit. Right? Whereas mine, 27, goes right to 9. So you've got a wild card there, Judy. You've got 1 kind of in there and 10, which is out of our system. But if we were talking about tarot cards, that's a wild card right there with the Wheel of Fortune involved in it. So this is how we formulate our psychic number. And I think it makes sense to help remember that psychic number is the day of the month we were born, because it's kind of mystical. You know, we may not put that much weight and value on it, but it's there. And it's a part of us, just like dreams are. Anybody have questions so far? Are you enjoying yourselves? All right, excellent. I'm so happy you came to join me. It's always good to have a plant in the audience. So now that we know our psychic number, we can realize that we already did it. We already did the math. Well done. So easy, right? I'm so happy. Now, the 9 planets are called Nava, which means 9, and Graha, which means planet. So this is an image of the 9 planets. Has anybody ever been to a Hindu temple?
Well, what?
A Hindu temple? Maybe we could go on a trip. There's one right up near Midway, not too far away, and they have amazing statues, which are called Mortis. And we could have a little tour around, and I could tell you stories about the deities there. Maybe we should do an excursion.
Where is it? Midway, that's like work.
No. What's it, Lucy? Yeah, up the street. Totally up the street. They speak Tamil there, which is not a language I speak, but it's okay. They'll let us in. We just have to take our shoes off. But there is a huge temple in Orlando. And when I was getting my master's degree in yoga, my professor was living in Orlando at the time. He's over in Bangalore, India now, back home. But my master's degree is from Hindu University, and I am a student and protege of his at Yoga Sanskritam University. And Yoga Sanskritam University is focused on language, the throat chakra, energy, Wak, the divine sound, which is the language of yoga. Oh, I'm getting a PhD. One day, hopefully in this lifetime. So these are the characters that we're talking about, and this is a classic way of looking at them. But this is an easier way for us in English, and especially for the purpose of today, so that we've got all 9 of them. And there is a fascination with making what's called magic squares in the West. Bless you. And energetic squares. So here, this is definitely important. You might want to write the numbers 1 through 9 down, and then write their planets. So we've got the sun is number 1. Number 2 is the moon. That kind of makes sense for memory because sun is really primary in our system, right? So I want to try and give you some anchors to remember it, because if we're looking at these incredibly foreign ways to express ideas, it can become incredibly confusing to try and memorize stuff. I think when we start to explore these Eastern philosophies, we understand why so many engineers came out of this part of the world, because of the way math and these types of memorization exercises are taught.
So did you start off with saying sun as number one?
I did. And then if we think the sun is number one, but then what reflects from it, what catches light, what's another luminary that we pay real close attention to, and pretty much anyone on the street, I hope, could point up in the sky and tell me that's the moon. The moon is number two. So we can think of the moon as the sidekick of the sun. And there you go. You've got 1 and 2. Only 7 to go. Well done. You can say, well done, Nate. And then number 3 is Jupiter. Jupiter is also called Guru, or Guru in English. He's the great benefic. He's the teacher. He has the name Guru because he is the great teacher, but his Sanskritam name is Brihaspati. You can nickname him Guru if you want. And then we're on to number 4. Now, 4 is considered a planet here, but it's actually a point. And it is number 4, which is Rahu, and number 7, which is Ketu, which are 2 parts of the same being from a story. It's what? 2 parts. I'm going to tell you the story. So you can, on your list of numbers, because you have 1 through 9, you can just jump ahead and make sure you've got Rahu for 4 and Ketu for 7, and then put your pen and paper down, and I'm going to tell you a story. It's story time. You can even close your eyes if you want. So, a long time ago in history, way before we imagine, there were the gods and there were the demons. And they existed in harmony. They used to tease each other and play things, games and jokes and things on each other. It wasn't like they were trying to annihilate each other, but they did want to gain power from each other. And so there was an ocean of Soma. Soma is also used in other languages to describe the dream state, right? And somatics, you might hear of somatics or soma breathing. It's relaxation. And in that vast body of liquid, which in some mythologies even call it milk and honey, were treasures buried, just like they are in our psyches. Remember, we started just talking about our psychic number, right? You might even think, wow, which one is my psychic number now, right? So there was this body of liquid that had treasures in it, and guess what? Both teams wanted them, the gods and the demons. The gods were pretty clever. The demons used to fight and struggle to get stuff. The gods thought, we could take that huge mountain over there, which happened to be Sri Lanka, the island of Sri Lanka, and we could take a great serpent, a naga. We could wrap it around the island, and we could pull, if we had more, on the other side and churn the body of liquids and bring up some of the gifts. So they talked the demons into doing this. And they took this great serpent and wrapped it around the island with the gods on one side and the demons on the other side, churning the water, and up came many treasures and ideas, like these systems of numerology. And Dhanvantari, which is an avatar of Vishnu, came up. And he held all the information about herbology and healing. And then the serpent snapped. Like when you're churning butter too hard or the rope is getting old. And that naga, that serpent, became a head and a tail. So the head is Rahu and the tail is Ketu. And the glyphs for these look like a horseshoe one way and the other way. So the horseshoe dumping down, that's Rahu, the north node of the moon. And the horseshoe facing up, catching things, is Ketu, the south node of the moon. Now, those nodal points we know from astronomy are what are part of the mathematical calculations of space that cause the equinoxes and solstices and the eclipse seasons. I'm so glad you're happy. So now we can see some personality traits of these numbers 1 through 9 in the dance of cosmic opposites. So we know when we're talking about relationships, though we sometimes say opposites attract or like and like. No, you're fine. Drink some water, please. You got it right there.
It's so hard to get your water.
Talk about the water thing after.
Okay.
On it into it. It's
No.
a great lesson.
I forgot to mention that this is the very first session of my mystical arts program here at Spiritwell. So let's look at these pairs of opposites. The sun is light and Saturn is darkness. So I jumped off the previous visual, but we still have the numbers here you can see. So 1 and 8, what does that add up to? Right. 2 and 7, the moon and Ketu, what does that add up to? Right, so we see a pattern here, right? 9 is the cumulative point in this system. So if we can remember this, if we can remember one planet's number, we can figure out the number of its opposite planet. Right? With the math. Wonder what would happen if we taught kindergartners math this way. Wouldn't that be cool? I liked it anyway. I took calculus 3 times. I took it in high school with Amirati.
Oh, with Amirati?
I did.
That's serious business.
Oh, it was myself and a younger student. I was a senior. Younger student, I think he was a junior, who was from Taiwan, who ended up being a massive major engineer. And I had the idiotic idea to wear a t-shirt that was given to me by a then boyfriend's father, which had Schrodinger's equation on it. So I walk into calculus class, and Mr. Amirati, my calculus teacher, and my comrade who was, taking calculus, it was just the two of us with Mr. Amirati several times a week. Me with my navy blue shirt with my white Schrodinger's equation printed on the front, which happens to be the tracking of quarks.
God.
Right? And Mr. Amirati goes, Schrodinger's equation, because it just had the equation. It didn't have the words on it. Of course, he knew what the heck it was. Guess what we spent half the year solving?
My t-shirt.
Watch out what you wear to class. That's what I learned that day. Unless you really want it focused on. So we've got 1 is the sun, 2 is the moon, 3 is Jupiter. That's where we left off on the last screen. 4, Rahu. Actually, no, we got to Rahu. And then 5, Mercury. Mercury's swift. What do we know about Mercury that we hear about in pop culture?
Retrograde.
There you go, retrograde. Who knows what retrograde means? Anybody? It's the apparent, the feeling of something moving backwards. Let me explain retrograde to you. Because when say we have a strong Mercury in one of our numbers that we're going to discover today, and then we've got a malefic in another. So we have you heard me say benefic when I was talking about Jupiter. But a malefic, don't think of it as bad. Remember, it took the demons to help the gods to get that good stuff out of the water out of the soma. But we can't have full on, use the H word, we can't hate. We have to really realize that everything in nature is working in some form of harmony. Yes, sometimes there's dissonance, like in music, but some people like to listen to music that Mahler composed, which has a lot of that, right? And sometimes you want some really booming energy to get things going if something's sleepy. So what we can do is we can relate some of this numerology, all of it actually, to a tarot card reading, because numbers are involved there, or we can relate it to our own natal astrological chart. And then I gave a few qualities, a little quality, just so we could have a cheat sheet or a quick reference sheet, let's call it. And then we're on to 6, which is Venus. And 7, which is Ketu, the tail, the south node, that is interrelated to Rahu. Saturn. Well, we don't see a 9 up there, but everything adds up to 9. Interesting. Now, this is the big chart. So here we've got the big chart that gives us the planet. Its Sanskrit name. That's what graha, remember that means planet. And then guna means its nature, its natural tendency. And then its nature in English, a word I chose for it. Its behavior, which is also a guna. So look at this, just as the sun, we've got sattva, right? Which is sweet, kind. We were thinking that is of nice with the little cartoon meditation person, right? But then we've got raja, power, force, right? So we've got different elements here. And then the aspect that it can create. So the sun, I think we understand, is active because it makes things happen and wakes us up and grows plants and gives us vitamin D. And then the temperament, which comes from the doshas of Ayurveda, right? Vata, Pitta, Kapha. That's why I had to teach you a little bit about that. And then the humor in the body. This is interesting for us, even from a Western medical perspective. I'm an over nerd. I think I was called nerd earlier by one of my dear students here, which is fine. I own it. I taught holistic health at the university level for 21 years. So I know some stuff. And so I want you to understand this too, because we might wonder, why do I have so much of this? Or why does this person seem to have so much of this? And when we think of body humors, we can also relate them to the emotions. So bilious can be gaseous, right? But it can also be somebody that just has bouts of anger, right? And also, bile comes from the liver, which is here on the upper right-hand side of your body. And it's the general of the organ system. So, could be a leadership thing, right? Makes sense for the sun. So, now that you know your psychic number, let's look at your psychic number and we just talked about yours because yours is 1, right? So you've got the sun. Do you have any questions about 1? Okay, good. And then Tracy, what's your number? 4. So let's look at 4, the north node. Don't worry. Even though they do have personalities of gods or demons too, so don't freak out. Rahu is a powerhouse. Rahu wants us to be really focused. And when I first met you and you walked in the room, you wanted to give me a hug, I knew, wow, sweet, sweet energy. So I couldn't even imagine at that moment, oh, God be Rahu. You see what I'm saying? Right? So you found the harmonious side of Rahu for your psychic number. Remember that psychic number is underneath. You might run stuff in your head. You might have weird dreams. You might actually have it in another compartment, but not what you bring out up front. Yet to be determined. Any questions about Rahu and what you're seeing here with the North Node being Rajasic? Do you feel like you have a lot of energy psychically?
Yeah.
Okay. So that's an active place. Do you write your dreams down?
No.
I want you to please take Tracy on a creative date to a place where she can buy a really cool journal, whether it's on Amazon or Barnes and Noble. They do have a nice journal section, and sometimes you can find really nice ones in the discount area. I'm a huge advocate of journaling. That's how I wrote all my books.
So when you talk about, so I personally don't experience a lot of my dreams because I have terrible insomnia. And so
So that could be the wind.
Yeah.
That could be the wind and the vata disturbance. So we need to find ways to stabilize and calm that blessed being we call Tracy.
Yeah.
So that
Well, and I'm sure that in all of this, I'm homeopathic. So
you what?
I'm a homeopath by training.
I love homeopathy.
You're always talking about the like.
I can tell you lots of stories about homeopathy.
Yeah, because there's like, all of this, constitution kind of thing. And then when you're compensated or decompensated, it's like a constant.
Yes.
Right. So.
There's that vodka coming out.
Yeah.
with a little taste of activity. But Rahu and Ketu, they're scholarly. They want us to study. They want us to get into all of these nuances and then relate it to the world. But refocusing is something of a task. And so finding that comfort and relaxation to sleep may need a little help with particular activities or pranayama, breathing exercises.
I thought maybe I'm the only one. I'm not sure.
I don't know.
No, I love it. I'm just taking,
That's okay.
I'm sorry, I'm just taking care of this.
You don't have to ever apologize. When I was, okay, so
I know it's.
I went back to teach at Solbury, where Tracy and I graduated from. When I taught junior high, I went back to Solbury School, where Tracy and I graduated from. And I taught junior high, and one year, the brilliant leaders of the faculty gave me a double period last period on Fridays with 7th and 8th graders. And I wanted to die when I was in the faculty meeting being assigned this, as I heard everybody else getting these great time slots. And I'm thinking, oh, good, for this junior high group of only 5 students, it was a tiny boarding school. I was hoping I could at least split the period 2 days a week. No, double period, last period Friday. And I'm like, what am I supposed to do with this? I worked through it. I created a recess time in between the 2 periods of 4 kids. That was a long time to be with me. Longer than you all are today. But I gave those kids things like hot glue guns. Nobody ever got burned. I did things with them that people told me I was nuts. Those kids went on to be amazing. One of them is a world famous violinist, another world famous DJ. The very first assignment I gave them was a Who Am I assignment, which is great for teachers, which is what we're doing here. And I had them make business cards about this bit. And I had them tell me what they were going to be when they were adults. And dang, if they didn't all turn out that way. I still have those cards. And I'm still in contact with several of them. They're brilliant kids, but wow, was that a challenge. That was definitely that was the kind of challenge that if I didn't step up to a Rahu energy and a Ketu desire to really learn and be scholarly, and thank goodness for Venus and Jupiter, my benefics, helping me. Remember, we have all of this in us. If we can learn how to tap into the ones that can help to harmonize the ones that might be giving us a rough time at the moment, then we have some peace. So we will find ways for your sleep, I promise, because I love to solve problems. So then Tracy,
Yes, ma'am.
Tracy Duo. Do it. No, yours.
Yeah.
Second.
Yeah.
Segundo. That's
I
okay.
need to get up. Sorry.
You can. So what's your psychic number?
2.
2. Okay, so the moon. I'll read it to you after you read it. And we can see right here with the humors, because Tracy 1, you were number 4, right? Wind, and I remember I talked about Vata. So she's got a little more Vata in her physical. She's digesting a little faster, whereas your humor here on the psychic number. Now remember, we're talking about psychic number. We're not even talking about physical, but these really affect the physical body. That's what I want you to understand. So you've got Kappa there. So we got to get it moving, with that psychic ability of go get the information, write it down. What is this, And I mean, come on, Tracy, you have done so much in your lifetime and created so much. We know you've got it in you. But now we want you to take it out of your psyche and give it to you.
It's what I give a rest.
I know. Gretchen, do you want to play? What's your number?
6.
All right, so we've got Venus. Now, in Greco-Roman mythology, Venus is female, and there's all kinds of stories that could tell you about her. But in this mythology, all of these are male. They're all masculine. It's the planetary points that are masculine and the stars that are female. And I know the sun is a star, but it's a different gender thing. So right there, if you try to tell me one timing is better than the other, then you better be able to explain the mythology to me. And you better be able to point up in the sky and tell me what planet that is, what star that is, and what freaking portal you're pretending that is. Yeah. All right, so Venus, we've got Shukra is her name, or his name, rather. And Tamasic can be a little bit staid, which is earth and water, which has a kapha tendency. Mucus is her humor, and we've got kapha here. However, we've got active. So we can also use these psychic keys of things that, remember I said we could harmonize or stimulate. So when we consider this, we can take it all in. And I am number 9. Mars, Mangala. Sattvic in nature. Mangala is Mars. Mars is
That's the
name.
word, okay.
Mangala. Remember the Graha is, I gave you the Sanskrit names without the Sanskrit Devanagari script. But essence, tamasic, angry. I have to admit, when I was a teenager, I was tough. My parents were part of the group that created tough love. Thank God. But I came out okay so far. And Pitta, although when you look at me through my astrology and Ayurveda quiz, which I have in my second book, Unfolding Happiness, I'm Tridosha. I'm all three. Not so easy to figure out. And then if you get into blood type, which is a whole other day, even more confusing. So we've learned now that these numbers all go to 9. Any questions about this? Because you looked at the other numbers, but I want you to focus on you today. And later, when you go back and you watch this, when I create it into a video course, you'll be able to ask more questions. This is a foundation. And I've taught tarot card reading. I've taught astrology. I was the dean of divination and the dean of psychic arts at a school of wizardry.
Okay.
I've written.
Where do you find these?
They find me. I guess I did find you. I find them. They float in when I'm ready. I ask. I say, okay, I require, and then it shows up. So we good with psychic number? Any questions about psychic number or what does it mean? And we got that? All right, let's go on to the destiny number. The most important number.
Destiny?
The destiny number. So the destiny number is your birthday. Now, there's a little trick that we can use, but I'm going to teach it to you after you calculate this. In some numerology systems, like Pythagorean numerology or Chaldaic numerology, we good on what I'm saying? I'm speaking Greek and Aramaic/Hebrew. Okay, good. Oh, you're fine, you're fine. In some systems, we'll stack them up like we were taught to add in elementary school. But in this system, we're taking all the digits and spreading them out. Okay? If you want to double check your work on a calculator, do it. I have a tendency to get a little too excited, and I always check my work on a calculator. Your psychic number and your wowzer. But then we're gonna, did it add up to the same day when you got a double
So
digit?
I go in order, right? So it's like 8/22/1972. So 8 plus 2 plus 2 plus.
Yeah, so what did you end up with
Hold on.
here for your first equal? Do you need help or you got it?
35.
Do mamas. Please. We'll do Tracy's first and then Tracy will help you, Judy. Okay? Because we want you to play along. Questions? You good? I'll be quiet while you
She says
calculate.
6, and the total is 33. I'm a 4,
Wow.
the total is 31.
A wild card and a 33 prime number. I am so impressed with your mom.
Oh, wait, say
She's
your name.
expensive.
Okay, so can you show her visually?
Yes.
Here, let Tracy write it down for you so she can see it and hold it.
So
Do you
remember.
want another pillow for there? or
No,
this?
I'm here. Not getting that anytime soon. So your psychic number was the date of your birthday, so the 28th. So that's the 10, which you know in
Oh, I didn't start
Astrology,
this.
or numerology. So this is your full
You
birth.
calculated your what?
So the 10 she
Is it
calls
a-
a wild card. Which
I did it.
is such a wild card.
Oh, very
Because
cool,
it's
very
like, outside of the 9. This is your full birth date, which adds up to a 6, which is the total of each number in your birth date is 33. So that's a double prime number.
Whoa, it's 33.
33.
Okay, so this whole thing about angel numbers, which are 333, 111, 444, 555, and then 1111.
And I'm 111.
No,
333.
333.
That's
Just-
pretty
just
awesome.
three.
Or, no, you're 33.
33.
33.
Yeah.
Yeah. So 11, 22, 33, 44. Very interesting. One of my teachers that I studied with a long time ago, you might have heard of her. She's kind of famous. Her name is Linda Goodman. Famous astrologer, super famous. Wrote the book Love Signs, Star Signs. That's another book. Star Signs is the best first numerology book in my opinion, because she's the one who started that, but I don't think she gets the creds on it. She started there's a lot of mysteries in that book that she never gave the answers to. She had riddles. She lived in a house that belonged to Tesla. That was her last place. I still have all the newsletters she used to send me. Back when we used stamps and large envelopes. Remember those days? Oh yeah, there's all kinds. I can tell you some stories like those. Maybe we'll hang out a little after class.
Okay.
So, where are we at? So, 333, which adds to 6, right?
It's 30.
So, but we want to also remember we've got a double 3, so there's some strong 3 energy, and then we've got 6. Right now, we're just talking the numbers. We're not going to talk what they mean. So, Tracy, how did yours shape up?
I'm an 8.
You're an 8. What was your double digit though? Did it go right to 8?
26.
26. So another strong 2. And then, Gretchen, what's your number? 32, so 5. So you had a 6 and now a 5. So you might want to just notate 6 and 5. So again, we can look at 9. Do you remember back to elementary school when you learned how to do times tables? Do you remember the unique aspects of the 9 times table? What was unique about it?
It was similar no matter what the other numbers were.
There were some riddles that maybe weren't always explained about how if a number was multiplied by 9, how it ended up. In Asia, they teach it so much differently, and it makes so much more sense. Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm getting there. But when we line things up, we can make it easier and cancel out all the 9s. So in the same formula that I had, you could cancel out 5 and 4 because they add up to 9. You can cancel out any 9.
Oh my God.
And then you can go so much quicker. This is why when I talk to the Vedic priest at my ashram in the Bahamas, Shivananda Ashram, he can just calculate on his fingers. And I'm like, what?
That's
know?
a trick to be
What
able
is-
to do that.
Guess there's a 9.
Thanks, me.
Yeah. That's why I'm teaching this.
That's
Yeah, so that's a trick in math that you can teach little kids when they're adding stuff. If they're given chains of numbers to add, and they'll be fast, but make sure they show their work because their teacher probably doesn't know it. So always do an extra step with a red pen. Teachers usually pay attention to that. So in your destiny number, your double digit and your single digit are significant, which I already planted the seed on. So in the case of a 25-7, the 2 is more important than the 5. Here's another way to look at the times tables. Tracy, you probably want to get up and look at this. Or not. It might put you in a coma. I don't know. But these are calculations for Vedic squares. So what's happening here is 2 times 2 equals 4. 3 times 4 is 12. 4 times 5 is 20.
I'm sorry, multiplication board.
Oh, I'm glad you taught it that way. And then here's another way. But this is a little more advanced, but I just wanted to show it to you.
Wow.
Yeah. But it's a whole, I mean, if you didn't learn math this way, it's eye-opening.
I see. So 3 times 4 is 12.
Yes, 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 yes.
Oh my God.
Yeah, so 9 times 9 is 81.
That's
So this is the magic of the 9 times table,
yeah.
but with other times tables playing along. And then you can see patterns unfolding
Oh my God.
on diagonals.
Wow.
It makes math so much more juicy, doesn't it?
I remember finding this formula out years and years ago and thinking that this could be a life changer if you live your life in accordance with it. Now, what does that mean? Living your life in accordance with it. Well, I spent a couple of years doing different things
And then
with that.
My Montessori kids recognize patterns.
It's so important. It's so important to recognize patterns. It's fascinating. And it unfolds something, especially, I wish people that were freaked out or grew up thinking they don't like math would come to something like this, because then they could fall in love with this and say, wow, this is fascinating. I want to know more about it.
I grew up, I was really good at math naturally, and I really liked it. And I was turned off and grew to hate it in school.
Well,
And so I feel
we
like
have
I
experiences.
actually would like math if it were cool things.
I would have probably ended up teaching that if it was in high school taught me this way. I mean, I survived a geometry teacher who marked my tests wrong because I was a lousy speller. And an English teacher who was rough on me about spelling and metaphors because she didn't understand my metaphors. And then what happened? I'm an award-winning author. And I'm teaching numerology. You know, so, but that's that hit of Mars in me. You get it? Whereas we see Gretchen's Venus happening, and she's making beautiful things for people. To feed them spirit and soul. Right? So we have to see where that psychic number creeps in. You know? And these are dances of opposites. So again, we can see 9 dancing through all of this. It's fun.
So what is it about not like why is 9 special? Like what is
It's the end of the count. Our decimal system, Deci, means 10. We're doing that because we have 10 fingers and 10 toes. But here in this system, we're thinking of 9 as the cumulative point. Because 10 takes us back to 1. Like in Judy's number. Right? Where she went to 10 and then 1. So if 10 is 1, then isn't 9 at the top of the stack? And that's where the patterns in math happen. But when we're taught a math system based on 10, it doesn't make freaking sense. Because the pattern disappears. It's like 9 and then this thing, you know? So it's not giving us that this pattern does. All right, you ready for your name number? This is going to take some calculating. So you're going to have to write down a chart for the alphabet, and I will feed it to you so you don't have to worry about getting up and looking at the board.
okay?
But what I'm going to do is before I show the slide, I'm going to give you the letters and tell you the number that it's equivocal to. So you're going to need 8 different. We're doing 1 through 8. Remember, 9 gets kind of on the edge in some of this. There's no letter that adds up to 9.
That makes you a
But it cancels things out.
That's a 9.
Oh, super.
I mean, it's like
Thank you. And I'm Scorpio ruled by Mars in the ancient astrology, currently by Pluto, who got demoted, which I won't ever demote Pluto. Why would you do that to the Lord of the underworld? Stupid move, astronomers, you know? But Pluto's not in the system because in this system, we're using our eyes to see what's in the sky. It's before we had telescopes, right? So everything is there. We can see Saturn. Although one day I swear I saw Uranus, which we
So
say
what?
Uranus. Uranus, the sky god. I like his name in Greek better.
Yeah.
And I swear I saw it. And he is traveling right now, very close to Mars in the sky. From our perspective, Mars will move faster though. So I want you to write the letters A, I, J, Q, Y. I'll give that to you again. A, I, J, Q, Y. Those equal 1. I'm going to give you in the order of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay? So you're going to have 4 rows if you want a double row. So A, I, J, Q, Y is 1. I feel like I'm calling bingo now. Number 2 is B, C, K, R. B, C, K, R. Are you calculating in your head? Oh, Lord have mercy. You scared me a little. You've done this already. With this system, though? Oh, fascinating. Okay, so number 2 is B, C, K, R. Number 3 is G, L, S. And then I will flash the slide up, don't worry. But I want you to do it first. Then DMT, that one should be easy to remember. DMT is for how interesting.
M-T-M-T.
Because 4 is what planet? That's you, right? Rahu. North Node. DMT. The third eye. Do you see what I'm saying? I mean, that gives me chills. I don't know about you. But talk about psyche number.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, and I'm also just completely obsessed with the number.
Awesome.
I'm obsessed with it.
Without it, we'd have very unstable furniture.
Yeah, well, I count everything for unstable.
Please laugh out loud, for God's sake. I like laughter on my videos. Okay, so number 5, N-E. N. How interesting. Number 6, U-V-W-X. I also love number 7, which is Oz, O and Z. And then number 8, F-H-P. So here we've got my numbers. So these numbers individually as a name, we can see repetitions of numbers. I've got a bunch of 1s. I've got a couple 4s. I've got 2 2s. And then a 5 6.
Do we just do our first name,
No, do your name.
the whole thing, even the middle name?
You can do your birth name or the common name. You know, your like in India, say the good name and the so that's like your formal name, and then your name your nickname.
But we do include our middle name.
If you use it, I mean, look, Tracy, if you're calculating something like, say, your middle name is on your passport and it's on your bank accounts, and you want to look at the numerology that relates to that part of you, then use your middle name. But if you're not using it, then don't use it. If you're only using the initial, it's up to you.
Yeah, because you've had a lot of names.
I do too. I mean, I have a Hebrew name. I have 2 Sanskrit names. I've got a Native American name. I've got an English name. I've got a birth name. I've got a married name. I mean, what the heck, right? But which name are you using? I'm using Ambika Devi in public, so that's what I'm counting. And there's other numerology systems. Remember, there's other organizations and cultures that use numerology. So if you're calculating your name and you have multiple names within that one name, you want to calculate each aspect.
Right. That's what we generally use.
Did we all get something? Well, Gretchen, you already know yours. So you know the separate sum of your first name and your last name or whatever your name is that you're using. So let's go back to the planets. Which planets are they? Which numbers? Saturn and Sun. Wow.
When we're adding up the full name, we add all of the numbers.
You can, yes, but let me shift back to a different view so I can.
So can I ask you a question?
Mm-hmm.
A very large part of my growing up years in life was called JL.
Uh-huh.
It's a nickname for Judy.
Mm-hmm.
You
You could just calculate that?
That was what I call my formative name.
Mm-hmm.
I use it.
Why not?
But you don't use that.
I mean,
I don't anymore.
for discovery, why not calculate all of it and see how it cross compares? Because then you can look at phases of your life when you were using it or purposes for which you were using it. For instance, I didn't change my name legally to Ambika Devi. However, it is the name on all my books, right? It's my professional name. It's on my website is ambikadevi.com. I asked if people call me Ambika, even if they knew me from way back when. I have another Sanskrit name. I use this one. And so this is my public persona. This is also, Ambika is what people call me. because they meet me as Ambika Devi. So they, Ambika becomes my pet name, And then, but banking wise, the numbers of my bank name, which is birth name, and the number on my passport is different, So I actually kept my marketing name for legal purposes because of the numerology, because it was good for banking. So I left it. And then my mother, when I started using Ambika Devi, asked me to please not change my name legally. Because she named me another name, and so to honor her, I haven't. Yeah, and so there's different names. I mean, I've had so many names. I worked in Mexico for a while. I had a name there. You know what I mean? So I'm with you on that multi-name thing. But it's also really interesting when we look at it and we see the numbers that in patterns, and then we can make our own magical square from it. And see the patterns that unfold. So. Sorry about this. Oh, shoot. What do you do when you get your number? Then you do inquiry. When you discover your numbers, you do more inquiry. You ask more questions and journal about what you discover about the planetary influence and the humors and the behavior and the nature. And then we can unfold more of the story. If you want to go a little bit longer, I can, if you want to, but it's up to you. If we can. Because I can give you a little bit of part 2 of the planet stuff, of the planets that we all possess.
Are you following okay?
Yeah,
She says, but I think I haven't put anyone into a coma sleep yet, so.
Well, she has so many different name variations
Mhm.
that it's kind of hard to know.
It's something to play with later,
Yeah.
but just pick one for today, so don't go nuts, and remember your psychic number.
the JL.
Just the letters.
Call me AJ or JL.
Interesting. Yeah, so,
That's cool.
now that you know your psychic number, your destiny number, remember, psychic number is the day of the month, destiny number, your whole birthday, and then name number. So it's all 3 that could be your own sacred triple digit number. And it's the aspects of it too. It's when it goes into that double digit or even a triple digit, because sometimes I haven't seen a birthday do that. The birthday will go into usually a double digit.
It's interesting.
But sometimes there's more than one double digit.
Both of us, using our first and current last names, are 7.
Both 7? Interesting.
Yes. Then,
Four is the number
Cool. So I wanted to leave Ambika Devi for my professional name because of the 11 too. And also the 16-7 of, Devi means goddess. It's a good word. I'm not surprised that word was chosen to signify goddess in that language. But I did promise I'd give you a little taste of something else, which I haven't completely finished. Oh, wait, wrong one. No. So here I wrote a little bit more. What number do we want to talk? Does anybody want to talk about a 1? We had a 1. You were 1, right? Who was 1? Yes. Tracy was 1. So here I give you a little bit more of just about the destiny number 1, but we can apply it a little bit to the psychic number. There's some qualities of being courteous, kind, colors that suit you as that number. So it doesn't mean you always have to wear these colors, but if you want to accentuate that when you're meeting someone and bring that part of you out, then you would wear those colors. And then I give you gemstones, because in Vedic astrology, the gemstones, the precious stones, are considered medicine. And the whole idea is you want the back of the ring to not close down on the stone so that it touches the skin.
You don't want it?
No, you want the stone to touch the skin, because the whole idea is that the light of the sun of Sordia comes through the stone and brings the energy into your body.
That's cool.
And then you put it on particular fingers. So what I just handed you is a yellow sapphire. These fingers are both yellow sapphire fingers for Jupiter.
That would make me want to see mine.
I will give it to you. I'll just go through them. So Chandra, the moon, is pearl. I'll just talk about the stones. It's not a great destiny number.
This is based on the destiny.
No, these are all different. I went all over the place in this. I'm just talking about planets and giving qualities. So I'm citing stuff. I just started writing this last night, this bit. So this will be the next level class. But I'm giving you a preview. You're getting a preview. Maybe I'll come back for mystical arts on another month, which is always the second Saturday of the month at 11 a.m. at Spirit Well. And maybe I will do just the planets and some more mythology. We'll see. There's lots I can teach you. I was the dean of faculty at the School of Wizardry. I've got a lot of curriculum.
Where is that?
Cyberspace. It's actually based out of New York now. But I don't know. I left. Yeah. I'm still very, very much in contact with the headmaster, who happens to be named Oz, OZ. Remember on your list? What number was that? O and Z? 7. So he's a 7-7 there. His name's Oberon Zell, but Oberon Zell Ravenheart. But just his name, his common name is Oz. How interesting, the 7-7. I wonder if he knows that. He might not. Is 2 important? Is 2 one of, we all had 2s in our birthday. Remember, we all had 2s in our birthdays, right? We were all double digit, a 2-based number. So it is important for us to pay attention to Chandra, the moon, and to realize that this does put us very much in a strong psychic way. We could say empathy. We could say empathic, right? Can I shift on? I'm moving. I'm going to the next one.
Going.
Okay, here's Jupiter. I talked about the yellow sapphires already. And so when we think of the gemstones, we can also think to help remember some of the positive colors to accentuate certain planets. Because look, you may not have a planet in your numbers or your chart that says strong. It could be sleeping. Some planets are dead. They're not revivable in a chart. And some are overactive. So we could use that sleeping or dead energy to calm down the other one, right? It's just like homeopathy. There's a potency that we can use to, we're not annihilating it. We're not shooting at a target. We're trying to harmonize, right? And sometimes we feed it a little bit of the venom to help with that. So I'm just going to flip through. Here's Rahu, because Rahu was one of our big hits today. So Rahu we can, I wouldn't recommend wearing the stone of Rahu or Ketu. I made the mistake of doing this during a period when I was listening to an astrologer. And then later when I studied astrology properly, so this was a long time ago, my Vedic astrology teacher said, get rid of those, take them off, stop wearing them. They're doing damage to you. I never heard of that. Hessonite is a cinnamon colored garnet. Yeah. Unless you really have a good reason to accentuate with that stone, don't do it. So on the Rahu finger, I now wear Mercury stone, which is emerald. I was, to calm it down for years, I wore an iolite, which isn't part of this group of stones, but it did help to cool it down. And then Mercury's name is Buddha, not like Buddha, but Buddha. Yeah. There's also things that we can do, because remember, to calm Rahu down in my own chart, I use a lot of mercurial energy. So when I can get up, like if I wake up in the middle of the night or I'm not sleeping, I'll go out for a walk. And then I'll come back home, and sometimes I'll meditate, or if it's warm season, I'll swim and meditate and do pranayama in the pool. And then I'll take a shower and go back to sleep. So sometimes that's how I work with that, to counteract that overactivity of the mind that can happen. Nishukra, yours, Venus. So Venus's stone is a diamond, but we can't all afford 4-carat diamonds. So I have a giant quartz crystal. I do actually have a diamond. It has to be over 1 carat to be worthy, and those are expensive, really expensive. And they have to be natural. The lab-grown stones are not really thought of as strong in this method of healing or gemstone usage. But this was actually created, designed by my Vedic astrology teacher, my Jyotisha teacher. And this quartz crystal was dug out of a particular mine in Uruguay and then cut in the pattern that Venus makes in the cosmos around the sun. Yeah, it's a pretty cool stone. It's a wild story about how it came to me. And then K2, the south node. So having a strong Rahu, we definitely want to pay some attention to K2 also. And that's in all our charts. Some of the more modern astrologers use the idea of Rahu and Ketu, the north and south nodes of the moon, to denote karma. Although Saturn is definitely a part of karma, and certain houses are part of karma. And we have to consider both sides, because they are an axis. They're 180 degrees apart. And then the cat's eye, I misspelled, I didn't catch that. The cat's eye, I was voice texting to my device. Remember, I just built this last night on a whim, in case I wanted to share it with you, so here we are. But the cat's eye, I don't recommend that either. Also very strong, and for goodness sake, my experience is don't wear Hessonite cat's eye at the same time. Shani is Saturn. Saturn stone is a blue sapphire.
I didn't make it.
Oh, yeah. Do you want me to move this? Okay. You can take a picture with your phone if you want. I'll allow it. Now, people are fascinated with amethyst, super fascinated with amethyst. I've worked in metaphysical stores over the years, many of them. And I could just, every day, numerous people coming in looking for amethyst crystals. And there's an overactive fascination with amethyst crystals. And now we have to understand it's the need for grounding. It's the need for slowing down. Although all of the New Age metaphysical information about it is about dreams and putting people in the wrong direction, in my opinion. I think that's why the big crystal stones that are opened up, and then all the amethyst inside, and the geodes, the giant geodes. I think that's the fascination, that people are actually getting grounded by it, but they think they're dreaming in the third eye around it.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's a big difference between an amethyst and a real blue sapphire. Definitely. And then mine, Mars. Though I have red coral, I very rarely wear it. I often don't even, I wore a little bit today just to honor, this is red garnet. So I actually am having a little bit of honor to Rahu and Mars today on my wrist, along with some amethyst and other stones. And that's just a little taste. Connect with me on Instagram. I hope you will. Follow me on Instagram. I put videos up all the time. Yeah, so please do. Thank you so much. Give yourself a hand. Thank you for staying awake and alive. It's my pleasure.